All right, let's talk about a skill that, well, most of us kind of get wrong, but it's absolutely fundamental to success in pretty much every part of your life. And no, don't worry, this isn't about slick corporate tactics or cheesy pitches. We're talking about selling as a core human skill. But before we can really build up what selling is, we've got to tear down the old, broken-down version. And that means we have to tackle that negative, sometimes cringy image that the word sales brings up for so many people.
Go on, be honest. What's the very first word that pops into your head when you hear sales? If you're like most people, it's probably something like pushy, annoying, sleazy, or maybe even dishonest. Yeah, that's the stereotype we're here to completely dismantle today.
And this right here really frames the entire shift we're talking about. On the left, you've got the old way, pushing, convincing, talking at people. But the real art, the place where actual success happens, is all on the right. It's about helping, it's about understanding, and maybe the most important one of all, it's about listening. It's a total flip of the traditional script.
So, let's just throw that old image in the trash. It's time to build a new definition, one that moves away from pressure and is centered on just one thing: helping. And here's the thing you might not realize. This isn't some weird foreign skill you have to learn from scratch. You're already doing it. Every single day, in dozens of little ways, you're selling.
I mean, just think about it. When you're telling your friend they have to try that new restaurant you love, that's selling. When you're trying to get your family on board with an idea you have, that's selling too. And a job interview? That's you selling yourself. In those moments, you're not being pushy, you're just sharing something you genuinely believe in. And that's all sales really is.
So this brings us to our new and much better definition. Sales is simply the act of helping. It's about service. It starts with understanding what someone actually wants, and then you just show them the clearest, simplest way to get there. That's it.
Now, for this new approach to actually work, it can't be built on flimsy tricks or tactics. It needs a rock-solid foundation. And that foundation rests on 3 pillars that are, well, pretty much unbreakable. If you get these right, everything else gets so much easier.
These are the big 3, the non-negotiables: trust, clarity, and belief. They all work together, and if you're missing even one of them, the whole thing just kind of falls apart. So let's break down what each of these really means. First up, trust. This is the simplest and most important rule of all. If people don't trust you, they will not buy from you. Period. End of story. And trust isn't built by being slick, it's built by being real. When you shift your focus from how do I make this sale to how do I actually help this person, they can feel that. That authenticity is everything. Pillar number 2 is clarity, and this one is so important. We often think that sounding smart and using a bunch of jargon is impressive, but in sales, it's a total killer. Remember this, a confused mind always says no. If people don't get what you're saying instantly, they just check out. Your goal isn't to sound complex, it's to make the solution feel completely obvious.
And finally, belief. This is all about the certainty you bring to the table. You just can't expect someone else to believe in your solution if you don't fully believe in it yourself. People can sense your confidence, or your lack of it. When you have that unshakable belief, that certainty is contagious. They start to feel it too.
Okay, so we've got our foundation of trust, clarity, and belief. That's the what. Now, let's talk about the how. Let's get into the practical, hands-on skills you can actually use to build that connection in any conversation.
Building a real connection is actually way simpler than you'd think. It's not about having some perfect script. It's about listening way more than you talk. It's about matching their energy. You know, if they're calm, you're calm. It's about being authentic, because let's be real, people can spot a fake a mile away. And the little things, like remembering small details they mentioned earlier, that shows you actually see them as a person, not just a sale. So what happens when you're doing all this and you still hear this classic phrase? The one that just stops a conversation cold. I need to think about it. Most people hear that and think, well, that's a dead end. But it's not.
You have to hear an objection not as a no, but as a signal. What that person is really telling you is, hey, I'm not quite there yet. I need a little more certainty. It's an invitation to keep the conversation going, not a reason to shut it down.
All right, we have redefined sales, we've built the foundation, and we've talked about how to handle those moments of doubt. Now, let's put it all together into one single, actionable roadmap you can follow from start to finish. And here's the full journey. See how it all flows together? It starts with you, mastering your own mindset and belief. Then it moves to them, really understanding their world. You present your solution with absolute clarity. You turn their doubts into simple conversations, and you always follow up.
If you do all that, the final step isn't a pushy close. It's just you guiding them to the next logical step, which now feels totally natural for everyone.
And I just want to leave you with this one final thought. You can have the best product, the most brilliant idea, the most amazing talent in the world. But if you can't show people its value, if you can't connect and transfer your belief, it goes nowhere. Learning to sell in this real way, by helping and guiding, isn't just a business skill. It's the one skill that makes everything else you do more powerful.